top mistakes travel creators make when trying to collaborate with the hotel. And I would say just about all of these mistakes are mistakes that I've made at some point, whether I was a small creator and just getting started, or where I'm at now as a larger creator, feeling very experienced with lots of hotel collabs under my belt. Whether these are my stories or stories I've heard or commiserated with other travel creators, I want to share with you these mistakes so you know what to look for and what to avoid. Starting with this first one, which is thinking that the only way to work with a hotel is to work directly with them as a way of getting compensated, whether for trade to be able to stay at that hotel, or you're delivering different deliverables, whether a folder of photos and videos, or writing or creating or videoing content that goes to your own channels and your own audience, and it's promoting that hotel and they're paying you for that and giving you the hotel room and all the other things that come with it, etc. That's not the only way that you can monetize off of these collaborations. An example would be if it's just a trade, maybe you tried really hard to pitch them for a paid collaboration, but all you could get was a trade. Depending on what that contract looks like, a fantastic way that you can still monetize that collaboration for many years to come is by being set up as an affiliate for that hotel. It's one thing to try to set up as an affiliate with each individual hotel, which is what I used to do. But consider this. Hey, audience, whether this is on a blog post or in a YouTube video, blah, 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 whatever you want to say about this hotel. But there are also other top hotels that are ranked by other travelers as the top ones to stay at in this area. You should see that list as well. And how can you make money off of that content as well? And people who book maybe not even the one you were covering, but the other ones. This is where I share resources that I use, like Stay 22. This came way too late in my creator game. And so they're a resource that I use. If you don't know what they are a platform of all of these properties, but through aggregators like booking.com or hotels.com. And it's not just hotels, it could be VRBOs. In my blog post, for example, it's like, don't just look at this hotel I'm covering. Look at the top hotels in the area and look at the top rental properties in the area. And I mean, it's like, wow, now I'm covering a ton of ground and being able to make affiliate revenue off of all of these. Make sure you check them out in the description of this video or in the show notes, because every one of these videos and podcast comes with a blog post, which, I dug straight into it because I love adding value. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Christine Lozada. This is another episode of Everyday Badassery. This is a travel podcast, and in this mini series, I'm helping travel creators, to be 1% more badass in how they create versus how they created yesterday. It's all about those small improvements, and one of the things we can all be smarter about is how we collaborate with hotels. Accommodations and lodging tends to be one of the biggest expenses in a lot of our travel, and why not try to do a collab, whether paid or trade, every single time? All right, that's mistake number one. Let's go on to the next one. This next mistake is around missing the opportunity to meet the person who you've been communicating with or talking to, or just in general, anyone from the property. A lot of times pitches happen over email, happen over messages, happen over fill in the blank, and you don't always get the opportunity to talk to someone on the phone. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And having the opportunity to in person connect with someone when you're at the property is one that I definitely did not do when I first started, and is one I definitely recommend. Why is that? Actually, there's a few reasons, but the key one that I want to point out here is around extending the relationship and potentially getting more out of the collaboration. When you meet someone in person, it shows that you're a serious creator and you want to make a relationship with this place. If you're looking at these things at one and dones, then I don't know if you're looking at your content correctly or where you're choosing to create content around. I'm very choosy because my audience is very choosy, and I want to give them what they expect. And what they expect is for me to go to places that are a good fit for my brand and my audience, and also to provide lots of helpful information that they want to know about. And maybe you cover that property, and this has happened to me before. I've gone back years later and covered that same property again because they've had changes or the landscape has changed. For example, I covered a property in 2020 during the pandemic, and some of that content was about staying safely at that hotel during the pandemic. And so when I went back, not only did they have new renovations, new offerings, new restaurants, but it wasn't the pandemic anymore. And so covering that hotel again, because while I was there, I asked, hey, do you actually work on site at that property? I would love to meet you, even just to quickly shake your hand and say hello. And the other thing that did is, they oftentimes will give you, if you don't already have it, their phone number. So if you need something, you can message with them. And afterwards you can, you should do this in any case, but send them a thank you. And in that moment, I always take a selfie with them. And I usually post those selfies to social media, but sometimes it's just really nice in your thank you message to them at the end to include that selfie with them. It's a way of extending, of deepening, of strengthening a relationship with a hotel. Plus, you can ask for other things in that moment depending on what they have in their schedule. A lot of times I'll ask, hey, are you available to meet up really quick? I'd love to shake your hand if you have time. I would love a short tour of the property, or I would love to ask you some questions I know my audience is going to ask and I'm going to need to create content around. And you can just get more value, and for both sides, right? The more knowledgeable you are and the more access you have to things. There are a lot of times that in those quick meetings they'll ask me, do you need access to the roof for your drone shots? Do you need fill in the blank? Like, is there anything else that we can do for you? And that's just a great time. Make sure you are asking to meet someone on the property. I just got back from a hotel collab and it was a literal 3-minute conversation. I had just gotten there. I was so starving. I didn't even go up to the room. I went straight to the bar, got myself a glass of champagne and a salad. And the marketing person who worked on the property on site, she came over and just, shook my hand, even though she's like, I know you have my info. Here's my business card. Anyway, if you need anything, let me know. And it was just a nice thing to be able to see her in person, because we'd been emailing literally for months and I had never met her in person or talked to her on the phone. So connecting with them in person, if you have the opportunity to, when you're on site at the hotel. This next mistake is one that I made consistently in the beginning because I didn't understand how to word things in a way that could turn a trade, unpaid collaboration into a paid collaboration. And it doesn't have to be this whole, hey, I'm Christine, like, oh, do you want to collaborate on this hotel together, XYZ hotel? And they're like, yes, we are only offering, comped nights. And you don't have to just respond back saying, oh, well, I only do paid work, or, well, normally I'm paid, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't help anybody. It also makes you come off as someone who's like, who are you? And so I will now respond in there's a few, it always depends on the situation, but a general way I will respond now. If it's not a paid collaboration, but it is an amazing fit, or it's just a really good opportunity, or it's an opportunity for me to really serve my audience, or maybe you're traveling to a place where, well, if you don't take this free accommodation, your other alternatives are not good. And so maybe it does make sense for you to do it. There's a lot of reasons why taking the unpaid collaboration can make a lot of sense, including the one I opened with, which is you might make a lot of money on the affiliate revenue side just making your own content. You might do a unpaid collaboration with them and the only deliverables might be one Instagram post and stories daily, for example. That was what a recent collab looked like. That's all they wanted. And so on my side, I created a ton of content with lots of, affiliate links and things like that will pay for that unpaid collaboration tenfold, if not more, over the course of time. And so nowadays, the way I will approach these trade collaborations, it might be something like, here's something I recently said. Hey, thanks so much for getting back to me. Right now, we're only prioritizing paid collaborations. These are the content pieces I had in mind specifically for your property, blah and blah, with I've already done the keyword research and literally what the headlines would be for the YouTube video or for the blog post, for example. Again, here is a link to my hotel media kit, specific media kit. And my audience is blah, blah, blah. And, I've covered this place before. Here's the link to all the blog posts or link to all of the YouTube videos I've created. If you change your mind, or if an opportunity comes up to do a paid collaboration, please know that you can call me at any time. The number of times people respond immediately and they're like, oh, wow, thank you. Like, we didn't realize your level of professionalism. We didn't realize your relevant audience. We didn't realize, fill in the blank, because you have to remember, especially, and I'm going to talk about this next mistake in a second, which is people just loosely DMing hotels on Instagram, which sometimes can be effective, but generally is annoying for the hotel because they're getting thousands of creators reaching out to them, loosely offering the same thing, and or these generic, I don't know who you are. They can't spend all day doing research on you. You need to make it easy for them to understand who you are. And if you have someone who is a warm lead, you can turn them into a paid collaboration if it makes sense for them. But then you can always fall back on other ways to monetize, like affiliate revenue with Stay 22. Which I want to pause really quick to remind you to check out Stay 22 in the show notes below. They've been a really great partner of mine because in one place I can create these affiliate links, track them, and then be paid out all in the same platform. Plus, if I have an issue, like, I can message them anytime and their customer service will help me. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to tell you an honest story. I recently started blogging, doing a written blog. And I know there's all these like different plugins and stuff. I'm new to all of it, where you can like do link switchers and stuff and like turn all of your existing hotel links into affiliate links. And one of the things that they offer at Stay 22 is they just have a script they can put on your website overall, and it will turn every, one of their VRBO or booking.com or hotels.com, all the places that they work with, which is a lot. Make sure you check out the show notes. And it will just automatically make sure it assigns through this script your affiliate ID, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have to do anything. Okay, going back to being very honest, I was new. I didn't even know how to put a script on my website. I was like, I don't know how to do that. And so I've hung out with Stay 22 a lot at conferences, travel conferences. And I was a speaker at a conference and we were standing next to each other because I was having like Q&A with my audience. And I was like, hey, can I just hand you my laptop? Here, I opened WordPress. But can you just put the script on there? And they did it for me right there. Oh, they're awesome partners. Anyway, check them out in the show notes. Make affiliate revenue, track it through there, make it easy for yourself to make this hotel content and make money off of it. Let's talk about the next top mistake, which is thinking that the collaboration is done when you have checked out of the hotel. There's more you can do to keep it going. So let's say, for example, and this is like on an average collab that I see in terms of asks, which is, a couple stories to your Instagram and also a post to your feed, and deliver to us, 2 to 5 edited photos for our use on their channels. And so I will, create that content. I will deliver it to them afterwards and the thank you. If you're creating a couple of photos, my guess is you shouldn't be. You should not be taking just 2 photos or just 5 photos. My guess is in your camera roll, you have 100 photos. You have way more. And especially for me, because I love flying drones, I take photos, within the property, and then I'm outside flying my drone. And oftentimes I get amazing shots, dozens of them, and video, like 4K 60 frames per second, amazing videos that look great. And I'll put them in a folder, and you can extend the collaboration afterwards. And Jessie on a Journey talks about this in the previous podcast episode to this, about her hotel collabs. And she talks about selling back photos and videos to the hotel. Hey, and this could look like this. Hey, XYZ Hotel, thank you so much for the collaboration. Given the deliverables, here is link to the post, link to the stories, whatever it is. And, the Dropbox link to the however many photos you are supposed to deliver for them. I just want to let you know, I also have a set of photos and videos I'm really, excited about. And, here is a preview of them. And then you can sell them back afterwards. You can buy one for X amount, and you can buy, 3 for Z amount. You can buy 10 for Y amount, or you can buy the whole folder for one set amount. And obviously the 1 is very expensive. The 3 gives some kind of bulk discount. 5 gives you even more of a bulk discount, whatever your numbers are. And then you can just get the whole folder, for another just set price. That's another bulk discount. And so this is a great way to continue the collaboration after the fact, once you've given all the deliverables, because this is likely content you already have. This next mistake is one of the mistakes I definitely made in the beginning, which is doing way too much work for way too little stay. And in the beginning, I was just, I'm a new creator, so excited. Wow, they want to collaborate with me. Wow, they actually responded to me like, wow, they're going to give me free nights. And one of the things that I was not doing that I wish I did back then, because, you don't want to come into the creator game brand new with a chip on your shoulder, like, oh, everything must be paid. And you got to put in your sweat equity too. But one of the things I just wish I did in the beginning, and actually someone I respect a lot, Alex Schnee of @Alex on the Map, amazing creator, very smart businesswoman. She was like, calculate what you think your hourly rate should be. And she's like, as you get pitched projects, or as you pitch projects, and as they ask for deliverables or you offer deliverables, just try to gauge, how much you think your time should be worth and how much time you think these things should take. So let's just give an example. Let's say the hotel, these are not actual numbers, let's say the hotel is $100 per night, normally, if you paid it out of pocket. Let's pretend, for math's sake, you value your creator time at $50 an hour. And so if they offer you, a free comped night, then some kind of deliverable that will take you 2 hours will, when you're first starting, maybe seem fair. And if it takes you 2 hours to do 3 things or 1 thing, then offer that 1 or 3 things. But if they ask you for 25 things, that does not make sense. So it's a very basic kind of way to think about how, what's fair for them to ask in terms of deliverables. Obviously, if you're new, some of those deliverables might take more time. Things in the beginning, like flying my drone, took me a lot of time in the beginning. Now I can do it with my eyes closed while listening to, last time I did a drone flight for a hotel, I was listening to a Game of Thrones audiobook, which was super fantastic. Got very lost in that chapter, by the way. But it's a way to get started, because what you don't want to do is sign up. And I did this in the beginning, signed up for these free collabs where it's just a trade. They're comping your nights. And now you're spending like a week creating deliverables. And it's just like, what am I doing? I should have just paid for the hotel out of pocket. At this point, it's a waste of my time. And I feel like I'm just working for them for free. And so be careful about how you value your time. Be careful about how many deliverables are fair. And that's one top mistake I definitely made in the beginning. This next mistake is super relevant, especially if you fly a drone, or if any of the content you need to make needs to be photos outside, photos at the pool, video something outside. And so one of the things that no hotel wants is rainy photos of their, property. It's not aspirational to take drone photos in the rain. That doesn't look great, right? You want blue sunny skies, nice sunset, soft sunrise. And so one of the mistakes that I made in the beginning was not asking for enough time, and not backing into what time of year am I going to this property? What is the average weather around this time? And how much time might I need to ensure I get the shots? And so a recent example, I went to a city in the middle of the US recently, and I looked at the weather during that week because this collab kind of came up last minute. And I was like, I think it might rain for a portion of my stay. And so when they offered 2 nights, I was like, 5. They're like, what? We never do 5 nights, and this was both them comping the nights and a paid collaboration. They're like, we just don't do 5 nights. And I was like, I understand. So therefore, I could definitely do these types of deliverables, but if you want to guarantee drone shots are going to be part of this deliverable, and this helps, right? Here is the list of the drone shots I've already done my research on in terms of scouting the maps. This is what I would love to be able to shoot. These are the days I think the weather is going to be good, and I have a very small window of time to be able to get these shots given the weather during this time. This is the only time I'm there because I'm going to be there speaking at a conference. So if this is part of the deliverables you want, I recommend 5 nights. Otherwise, let's remove those deliverables, and 2 nights is fine. And so that is one way I framed it. And it's like, oh, well, they wanted this collab in the first place for the drone shots. You know what happened in the end? It rained. But you know what else happened? The first 2 days I was there, this is one night, first 2 days I was there, I got all the beautiful sunny shots that I needed. I made sure when it was sunny, I got her done. And that meant I was done with all the deliverables within the first 24 hours. They are all edited, ready to rock and roll within the first 24 hours of me being on the property. And the rest of it was me creating content for myself, which included using Stay 22. And it was just one where it made sense, because just think about the opposite. What if it rained out the whole time, or, fill in the blank, which leads to the top next mistake that I would make, which is like fallback plans. Because let's pretend in the scenario that you needed to deliver XYZ, and there's no way you could deliver it given something that happened, right? The weather was not good, or there ended up being construction on site, or fill in the blank. Having backup plans on what you could potentially deliver is an important thing to have in your back pocket. And so I happen to be like, this is a different project, podcasting. Hey, I'm going to do, a bunch of podcasts from this hotel. I'm going to do a bunch of mid-rolls just in case, talking about the property and kind of hyping up this property, just in case what I plan to originally deliver isn't able to be delivered. Or, a portion of that can be delivered. So I can have something in my back pocket that might still make this property very happy at the end of my stay. So having these kind of plan Bs and backups in case things don't look weather-wise, construction-wise, fill in the blank, busy-wise. You might go to the property and expect to be able to take those beautiful sunrise photos with just you in them, and every sunrise there's 1 million people around. Definitely had that happen as well. So just think about these things in advance and have a plan B. Don't make that mistake. This next mistake is around thinking that the hotel room is the only thing that can be part of the collaboration. Especially for larger resorts, they might have tons of restaurants on site. They might have an amazing, well-known spa facility. They might have fill in the blank. The room is one thing, but what kind of content are you creating, and how much stronger might that content be, or that story be, if you are enjoying and doing more of the amenities on site? So don't think it's just the room. I have asked for things like, hey, I noticed you have bike rental, but it's not included in the nightly fee. It's an additional, it's an additional fee. I want comped bikes, and it's not just me. I need it for 2 people. I want to do a couples massage. I need food credit at every single restaurant if you expect me to be dining on the property, and covering that and making sure it covers everything. I have a vehicle. I want parking every single night. Maybe the parking lot where it's DIY parking is really far away, making sure I'm asking for valet parking. Or if you're not driving, hi, I saw on site that you have a concierge service, and part of that is transportation. I need transportation from the airport to the hotel and back at the end. Like, what are all the different things that you might be asking for? And of course, it's, with the depending on what the deliverables are, what you can cover, what other story angles that will allow you to do. It might even be like, what tours through the hotel do you offer? So you can cover what they offer in terms of services, all kinds of things, right? So asking for these things and making sure you're doing your research and not making the mistake of thinking that just the room night and the room is what can be comped or what can be part of the paid collaboration. Make sure you ask. This next mistake is one that I talk about with Jessie on a journey in the previous episode just a bit, which is around contracts. And contracts are, they're dry, they're boring, you don't really want to look into them a lot, but making sure a couple of the key things in there are keeping you in the clear. And so an example might be around exclusivity and making sure that you are not, banned from being able to work with other properties or post about other properties or anything like that during your time creating for this hotel or for some period of time afterwards. Another one would be, some of them have requirements around how long things need to be live for, or an example would be, you have to do a post about us on your Instagram and you're not allowed to take it down for, a year or however long, or they might ask for story highlights and those story highlights cannot be taken down for some amount of time. And so just keeping that in mind as you think about other hotel collaborations and what kind of either exclusivity that they're asking for or how that might make you look as you're trying to pitch other hotels. And by no means am I saying like, oh, just because you have an Instagram post about one property doesn't mean another hotel property would never consider you. If anything, that's really great for, oh, cool, this is how you showcase the hotel, blah, blah, blah. But it's just one thing to consider depending on where you're at in your journey of how many places you're collabing with or what these contracts might say. Don't make the mistake of just skimming over and skipping the contract. Make sure you're looking through all of the language because all contracts are negotiable. And don't forget, you can catch more in that previous episode with Jessie. She talks a lot about contracts in there. This next mistake is around fit. Make sure that the property it's a great brand. It's a place you definitely would be staying anyway. It's a great fit for your channels. It's a great fit for who you are as a traveler. Because I made a mistake once of staying at a hotel property that was way too budget. And I'm going to be totally honest, I had cockroaches in my room. Like, it was awful. And not only that, the valet guy totally scratched my rental car. And I was very thankful I had a Amex Platinum card that covered that from an insurance perspective. The service was awful. It was just a really bad fit. And so making sure whether in the contract or somewhere you reserve the rights to, if you have a bad experience, you're not being required to talk about this place as the most amazing place in the world. It's why a lot of times, sometimes I might go with I don't want to do a collab with this hotel. I want to book it on my own, pay for it out of pocket, and then go after the affiliate revenue with Stay 22 so that I have the freedom to really talk about this place in a way that makes sense given the experience that I have and a way that's honest and true for my audience because I love to keep it real. All right, I've given you a lot of the top mistakes that creators make when collabing with hotels. And actually, I'll give you one last one, which I feel like it can be effective, but oftentimes is like the only way that new creators, or some creators, even advanced creators, rely on, which is just DMing hotels in Instagram. And I oftentimes think that this is one of the worst ways to try to work with hotels. Hey, I'm Christine Lozada. I would love to collaborate with you. Reach out to me. And it's like, who are you? Imagine getting that message from 1,000 people, because I get that message. When I became, kind of known in the drone space, a lot of creators would reach out to me and just be like, hey, Christine, you don't know who I am. I want to collaborate with you. Let me know. And it's like, oh, who are you and what are you going to offer? And so if you choose to use Instagram DMs, here's one tip for how I do it. I'll oftentimes tease a trip I'm going to take and kind of showcase in a storytelling way in my Instagram stories, like drone shots of, let's say I'm traveling to a beach location, a different beach location, right? I'll post those drone shots to my stories and I will, poll my audience. Hey, I'm traveling to so-and-so place. Do you have a hotel recommendation that you would suggest? I've heard of and then like tag in the hotel that you're curious about. I heard blah 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 was great, what do you think, or what would you suggest? And then like now you just kind of have their attention, and then showcase, some other beach resort that you had recently stayed at, and been like, one of the things that I love about places are like pools. Do you know a place with a great pool? Or maybe it's just a poll to your audience. Do you prefer the beach or do you prefer the pool? And you're tagging in that hotel just so they can see your work. And you're starting to get on their radar of like, this is how this person story tells. This is the quality of their shots. And then when you DM them, you're not this random mysterious person that's like, hey, I'm Christine, do you want to collab? And I usually open with something that will catch their eye, whether it's literally the headline of the YouTube video I think I want to make or blog post I want to write, or what I want to offer. And I will say, hey, XYZ Hotel, this is the headline that I want to cover for my, I think my audience right now is like 86,000 US based budget luxury or luxury travelers who are, urban adventurers. And I'll open with that. I'll be like, that's what I want to make. And that's very quick who I am and like why you should even care, because, I'm a travel YouTuber, travel blogger. And kind of like and then a lead to like, let's talk, I would love to connect. Message me here, or my email is blah, blah, blah. Or I'll just ask, or I will be, if you have a marketing person I can reach out to, I would love their email address. And then I take it over to email. You basically never want to try to negotiate or close deals in the DMs of Instagram, in my experience. And so be clear around what you offer, and don't think the DMs are the most amazing place, but don't write them off either. I've definitely gotten work there, even recently, but it's different. I don't make the same mistake I made before when I was new, which is just like, hey, so-and-so, I'm someone you don't know. You want to work together? Like, that helps nobody. All right, top mistakes. Don't forget to check the show notes. There's a blog post that goes with it. Check out Stay 22. They have been a great partner of mine. I'd love for them to be a great partner of yours as well. There's more in this creator series. I'm Christine Lozada. Hope you found some value. Go forth, create like a badass. See you in the next one.